Here's what you can look forward to on this episode of The Nice Guys on Business.
You know, Jackson Browne plays a song called The Loadout, and the song basically talks about how he goes from city to city and how the only time that he gets to really live is the time when he's on stage. And that's really what it is for us, too. We have to go through all of this basically hard, backbreaking, lifting work to get all this stuff up, and sound checks and video checks, because we're using a lot of video screens. And we're taking the time to make sure that all of these things are handled properly so that the guests, when they walk in the door, they're seeing a seamless performance for 5 hours.
I took a pill in Ibiza to show the nice guys I was cool. And when I finally got sober, I felt 10 years older. But fuck it. It was something to do. Need an education on how to grow your business? The nice guys are here to help. Learn about great customer service, networking, and how just being nice can help you prosper. Now, here are your hosts, Doug Sandler and Strickland Bonner.
Hey, nice guy community. Welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Strickland Bonner. On the other side of the microphone is Mr. Doug Sandler. Today, we are interviewing the guy, the man, the myth, the legend. He created and started Costco. That's right. It's Ken Cosco.
Wait a minute. Hold on. I think he would like to have been the creator of Costco.
Oh, no, he's
but
not.
His last name
not,
is...
He didn't start Costco.
No, but he is a good guy. And, you know, he is pretty wealthy. He started an entertainment company. That's actually how I know him. He's a good buddy of mine from Boston, Massachusetts. His name is Ken Cosco, and he has a company called A Touch of Class. And he is a DJ business, and he is kicking butt in the wedding market in the Boston area. But he is all about just over-delivering. This guy is Mr. Over-Deliver. He is all about customer experience himself. I know we had just, let's see, what's today? Today is Wednesday? Today Wednesday?
Wednesday, yeah.
So just on Monday's show. Was that Pat Perdue show was on Monday?
Yeah, Pat Perdue.
I like testing you about the things that have happened on the show already.
Yeah, because you don't have it in front of you and you're just hoping that I do.
I think that you do. I think that you probably do. Like the promise statement that we didn't deliver on any of the mess. I don't think we've done that once this week at all.
No, I think we did it.
We did?
Tuesday. I don't think we did it. I don't think we're going to do it Thursday. I know we didn't do it Monday.
Can't we go and fix it if we know we haven't done it yet?
No, it's
probably not.
Like I could go in.
It's really complicated. Nice guy community. You probably don't understand what Strick and I go through in the course of our average recordings of the week. There is I have a slide rule in front of me right now.
I have an abacus in front of me.
Oh, that's good. That's good. So Ken is the owner and the proprietor and the solopreneur, entrepreneur, everything else extraordinaire of a company called A Touch of Class DJs, ATOC. And he is an amazing guy, good friend of mine. Again, runs a entertainment business out of Boston. And today he's going to talk about all things small business balance concerns. What's so fun about the way that Ken runs a business, and he's balls to the wall all the time. I mean, he's 24/7. But he's got to have some balance because he's a single parent. His young daughter, I think she's 11 or 12, lives with him. And he's really the kind of guy that understands the importance of spending family time. It's not all about sending the kid to the sitter or sending the kid to daycare. You listen to his story. It's a compelling story. It's an inspiring story, and it's one that I think you'll really enjoy. How he's grown a very successful business and been able to do that as a single parent as well. So I think you'll get a load out of this interview.
A couple of years ago, Doug and Ken and I hung out in Vegas together, and it was during the DJ show, and I had the great opportunity to play wingman for Ken. And man, we really, really had a great time. I miss Ken a lot.
Yeah, Ken is a very charismatic guy. Let's just say that he's a good looking, he's a cute guy, and he's a guy that the ladies like, and he is a great talker. And you'll hear when you hear him on the show, you'll hear that he's got swag. Is it swag or swagger?
Swagger. Swag is when you're giving shit away. He's got game.
If I say that. But he's also a great guy. He's a great guy. So do we have anything before we can get to the interview with him, or did you just go into it?
Did you do the promise statement?
No. Could you do that?
You haven't gotten the wallpaper on your wall yet that says to provide a learning experience that is entertaining and adds value to your life?
Yeah, I was going to say it is to provide a learning experience that is entertaining and adds value to your life.
You were not going to say that, or you wouldn't have prompted me to say it.
It just took me a moment to get it open on my computer. I had
right.
too many windows open. That's the problem. Too many. I was going through some post-inauguration depression, Strickland. I'm really sorry. I think we should just get to the interview with Ken. I think that I'm not 100% sure, but I don't want to say his political affiliation because that might get him either mad or I don't know. I don't think we talk about it on the show, so I'm not going to do it with Ken.
Oh yeah, but you know his political leanings.
I'm pretty sure I understand, and you'll know pretty quickly by the type of person that he is when he starts talking, who you might feel his better candidate or his best candidate was. Can I just leave it at that? Is that leaving the door open for any conversation? I think that is. That's teasing it a little, isn't it?
It sounds like what you're trying to say is when things go to shit in 2 years, he's the guy I should blame, right? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I don't know if that's particularly correct, but I think I'm going to let him speak for himself on the show. How about that?
Fair enough. And by the way, even if he does support our current president-elect, which I'm not going to say that I do or don't, I would still love to hang out with him again.
He's no longer the president. He's no longer the president-elect. He is now the president.
He's our president now.
So I'm sorry. So even though he what did you say? What was the finishing of that sentence?
Even though I would not say that I voted for our current president, I certainly have the highest hopes that he will do well by the country and would not hold it against Ken. Would still love to hang out with him in Vegas sometime.
So be it. All right, let's get to the interview. Ken Cosco, not the owner of Costco, but the owner of... That's good. Ken Cosco here on the Nice Guys in Business podcast. He's the Chief Entertainment Officer of one of Boston's most in-demand entertainment companies. Ken Cosco has been making audiences fall in love with him for well over 25 years. He has opened for international acts like Chubby Checker, Tiffany, who I actually think has a crush on him, Tone Loc, and C&C Music Factory. Most importantly, though, he is a dad to TJ and a good friend of mine over the last decade. Welcome to the Nice Guys on Business podcast, Ken Cosco.
Hello, Mr. Doug.
It is so good. I mean, this has been a long time coming, brother.
Oh, my God. Tell me about it. I was supposed to be one of the first ones, and now I'm going on, you're like the superstar, and now I have to kind of jump in at the last minute.
Yeah, well, we found an opening in the schedule, and sometimes when we do that, we like to fit the little people in, so...
Well, I appreciate it's me and the guy in the corner begging for change. So I appreciate that.
So why don't you share with the Nice Guy community? Just give us a few minutes of your journey to the top of the entertainment game in the Boston market, and then I want to ask you some questions about being an entrepreneur and how that plays out for you. So talk about your little journey, not a little, your actually big journey in the world in entertainment, Ken.
Sounds good. Well, I started the business in 1989 in Vero Beach, Florida, when I was 14 years old. And I tell a joke because it's 27 years I've been doing this. I started when I was 2, when I was in diapers, because I'm 29 years old and older.
Right, sure you are.
Yeah. And then from there, in 92, I graduated high school, moved to Florida, sold the business to 2 other entrepreneurs and as a venture capitalist, not the entire business, just a portion of it. And then from that point on, I basically had the Chief Entertainment Officer title. Thought I was going to do this in college, but after 3.5 years of full-time college, and I graduated college, then I ended up basically saying, okay, I'm going to ride this DJing thing as far as it'll take me. And the next thing you know, that was in 1996, and I did 96 events that year. Jumped up to almost 400 events in 2000. Yeah, it was insane over the next 4 years. And that was back in the Clinton administration where every company in America was throwing parties like it was going out of style in December. And then after that, we focused a lot on bar and bat mitzvahs. We really focused on bar mitzvahs from probably 95 on. And since that time, the brides have come around, and now our brides are really expanding beyond just the DJ portion of their entertainment for their wedding into photo booths, LED lighting. We now are doing animated monograms. We actually have a brand new photo booth novelty called the Magic Mirror Photo Booth Experience. And so
sounds very Disney-esque, Ken.
It is. We actually have a lot of fun trying to get the weddings as creative as possible, along with our corporate clients. So they have dominated now, where our bar mitzvah market has taken on the number 3 total of the events that we do, but we're still balancing it out, 200 to 225, somewhere about that, events per year. We dropped it from the 400 because we want to keep more of a personalized service. So we basically increased our cost decrease the total number of events that we do, and able to offer those clients a little bit more personalized attention.
So what's interesting about everything that you just said, Ken, and I was with you, step and step all the way through that process over the last 10 years, and watching you make this transition between a company that was doing a huge amount of events to a company that still does a large amount of events, but being very specific about who your niche is and who your audience is. But on the overall package, from an entrepreneur's perspective, you do it all too, because I've seen you in the office selling. I know that you are very intricately involved in the accounting side of things with your business. You're very involved in the training and the staff and everything from an HR perspective. And you're also one of the acts that goes out there and does it. So I think that there's a certain level of relatability to a lot of the people in the nice guy community that are out there and that do it all for their businesses too. Important. How do you seem to manage your schedule? And we joked about it before this. It's like, okay, well, I work 28 hours a day. That's how I manage. But how do you manage your schedule?
Well, for my schedule, it's a little bit complicated because I'm also a solo parent. So in my schedule, I don't do mornings. Mornings and I do not agree. So I usually get up somewhere in the vicinity of about 11 in the morning on a weekday. My daughter, who is in 4th grade, is so self-supportive in the morning. Daddy gets grumpy in the morning, so she likes to get herself dressed. I make a lunch at about 3 a.m., put it in the fridge for her. Breakfast is usually some sort of muffins that I bake, and they're waiting for her in the morning for the week. I'll do that on Sunday night, late night. And then, so on Monday, she will get herself up, get herself dressed, get herself out to the bus, brushed her teeth, all that kind of fun stuff, and lets the dog out in the morning by herself. So it allows me to sleep till about 11.
And how old is she?
She's 11.
What's amazing about that is you've just said things that even as a 52-year-old, I still don't do most of those things on my own.
Luckily for you, you have someone to actually watch over you in the morning, which is great for everybody around you. Trust me, because we've smelt you when Danielle was not around.
Yeah.
And so so TJ handles that. So I get up at 11:30. I roll out of bed. I brush my teeth. I grab my bathrobe and I walk about 6 feet to my office where I could have a bunny slipper or my puppy in my way. That's a tough commute.
Yep.
And then from there, I immediately get on the emails and phone calls. So I start off with my emails, and usually by that point in the morning, it's usually about 60 of them. Of course, 59 of them are junk emails.
Right.
Expect. But no, I would say it's probably about a maybe 80-20% mix. So of the 50, 60 emails that I have, there's probably about 10 or so that are actual business emails that came in that morning. So I'll reply to those first, make sure there aren't any messages of people that call. Almost nobody calls anymore.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? The phone never rings, but the emails, they continue to come in. And now people have made the move over to text messaging also, which I find is really interesting from a prospecting perspective.
Yeah, the only thing that concerns me about that is that entertainment is such a personality-based driven business that you can have the best emailer and the best texter on the planet, but at the end of the day, they're going to see a human being in front of them at their event. And if they see that human being and they have no personal skills, then you could get some pimple-faced 15-year-old that shows up and does your event and can't talk to anybody, never mind talk to themselves in the mirror, and they're going to end up, ruining someone's event. I don't understand that philosophy. I mean, I kind of have had to go along with it, but as much as I possibly can, I try to get a client still on the phone at least so that I can try to show them the difference in quality.
And what's interesting about everything that you've covered so far, and I know that you've just gotten to your morning so far, but what I've heard is system, and this is what I do. This is my routine. So you get in this normal routine. How essential is that in order to make things go smoothly through your day?
Well, in my aspect of business here, I am, as you mentioned, I am the manager of the company. I am the sultan, the czar. Basically, I am everything about this. So I'm in the office 100% of the time. I do have one girl that helps me out in the office who is a phenomenal MC as well as personality. But she's married with 2 kids, and her kids are 5 and 4, so she can only get in here for a few hours a month. And so what ends up happening is if I don't run it, I start to fall behind. And I notice the same thing happens on everything from daily bills as well. I mean, if I don't pay a bill when it comes in within the first 48 hours or 72 hours, I could very well find myself with a stack of bills that's going to take me 2 hours to go through in about a week. And that's a problem. So I try to stay on top of those things. I do all of my emails and phone calls during the day itself. I'll work until about 5. My daughter will get back at about 3. And that routine is vital. She comes back, she gets her snacks, she does her homework. Basically, by the time she's done her homework, it's now 5 o'clock because she's messing around with or whatever, playing music on Alexa or the Amazon Echo.
Yeah.
And so by the end of by 5 o'clock, then I basically shut down the office for a few hours. This is Monday through Thursday. During that time, I have to bring my daughter to karate class, or I have to, obviously do dinner, spend some time trying to find out what's going on in her world. And by the time we get to 8 p.m., then she gets ready, takes a shower, gets ready for bed. She's in bed approximately 8:30. Well, she's like me, so more like 9:30, 10. But we try for 8:30.
Right.
And she goes to bed, and at that point, I'm back in my office. Now, after 9 o'clock, I don't contact clients via phone. Sometimes I'll email if they are up late and they're emailing me last minute, and my clients are very surprised when they send me an email at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, and they get a response at 11:05 p.m. on a Tuesday. But I usually do my paperwork, and that's what I'm usually doing my paperwork until probably 2, 3 a.m. So I'll do all of my contracts. If a client requests a contract during the day, I will make sure to say, by the time you wake up in the morning, it'll be there, but it will not get to your inbox until so late in the evening that you probably won't be up.
Now, hold on 1 second, Ken, and I don't mean to interrupt you, but Nice Guy Community, as you're listening to this, just keep in mind that Ken's schedule starts at a later time. So somebody that might say, well, he has no balance. He gets started at, he doesn't get finished till 3 in the morning. Well, he doesn't start until 11 o'clock in the morning as well. So if you're a person that likes to get up at 5 a.m., Danielle, my wife at Nice Guy Community, who don't know her, Ken, I know you do know her, she gets up at 5 a.m. to start her day. There's no way I could function at 5 a.m. I mean, Ken, in his particular case, he hasn't even gotten to bed yet.
If it's 5 in the morning, it's because I didn't go to bed.
Right.
There have been a few of those occasions too.
Right. All right. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you. I just wanted to really emphasize the point that you are not a 24/7 worker, although I know your brain works in that manner, but you do have some balance that goes on in your life with your schedule.
Yeah, somewhat. I mean, the fact is that back when I was single, or back when I was single and didn't have a daughter to raise, there would be a heck of a lot more balance. You try to, when you're a single or solo parent, as I am, it's a little bit different. So my balance level, I try to keep routine as much as possible, but there are things that come up. Today is a great example. It's a Tuesday, the 17th, and my daughter's school is on a professional development day. It's like, do these kids ever go to school? I'm like, it's a Tuesday. Why aren't you in school? Oh, there's no school today. Well, I know there's no school today, but I just
Ken is having her clean the chimney today, actually. So
yeah, which will be nice, and then eventually she'll go out and salt the driveway, and she'll be sure
that's 11 years old. Nice.
Yeah, shave the dog and shovel some coal into the furnace. So yeah, right. So that's basically where we started from, and then on the weekends, so when I do the events, and that's really when I'm the most. I would say if I had to pick a time of the week that I'm probably most happy, besides the fact that it's when my daughter lays her head in the pillow and finally closes her eyes. That's makes me very happy on a daily basis. But beyond that, the other time that I'm most happy is when I'm actually at the event. Everything is set up and I can do what I do. Being an entertainer that's a drug. It's what I live for.
Yeah.
And being on that stage, and you listen to these songs where Michael Bublé has a song where he says, "I've lived my life on stages in front of 10,000 people," and that's kind of the way I live. It's that I love the bigger the crowd, the better. Where some people crumble under that pressure, I thrive on it. I'm like, give me 10,000 people, give me 2,000 people, give me 20,000 people, and I've actually performed for numbers that high every year. I do an event that's over 2,000 people every April for the awesome 80s prom for WXLO Radio in Worcester, Mass. That's the second largest FM station in the state of Massachusetts, and they bring in a major act. This 80s prom, people dress up in 80s attire, and they go nuts. And I
love when you share stories about your 80s prom, and there's a whole bunch of moving parts that go into that too. So it's not just get up on stage and do your thing. There is a tremendous amount of hassle and procedure and process that you go through just in order to get up on that stage.
Yeah, 1 p.m. we arrive, and the show doesn't start to open the doors until 7 p.m. So we're going through 6 hours worth of setup. We're going through 6 hours worth of sound checks with whatever major artists they've had in the past. Then we're playing from 7 to 12, and Jackson Browne plays a song called "The Loadout" or "The Loadout and Stay," and the song basically talks about how he goes from city to city, and how the only time that he gets to really live is the time when he's on stage, and that's really what it is for us too. We have to go through all of this basically hard, backbreaking, lifting work to get all the stuff up, and sound checks and video checks, because we're using a lot of video screens, and we're taking the time to make sure that all of these things are handled properly, so that the guests, when they walk in the door, they're seeing a seamless performance for 5 hours. And there are so many moving parts. I mean, you're talking about everything from massive alcohol consumption to people that are dressed in costumes where they can't fit on stage because they're oversized R2-D2 and C-3PO. I mean, and they can't get by the video screens when they're coming on stage for a costume contest. We have to adjust on the fly, no matter how much preparation time that we've taken and the work that goes into the prep.
And Nice Guy Community, just so you're aware also, and I've had the opportunity to work with Ken on a much smaller scale at some functions that he's had up in Boston when I've been visiting. And what is amazing is how personal you are with your clients, and how much responsibility that you take. He is not a guy that is barking orders from an ivory tower. He has the ability to, based upon some of the jobs that he has, but Ken's a roll up your sleeves and get it done kind of guy, which really does, Ken, bring me to a point about relationships that you have with your clients. Not only your clients, but the people that work for you. Talk about for a second the importance of you work in an environment where everyone is basically a subcontractor rather than an employee of your organization. So talk about the importance of having solid relationships with the people that are not only inside your business. Let's start there, and then we'll talk about your clients also, but the people that work with you. Talk about the relationship building side of things.
Yeah, I would say that there have been people in my life that are not in my business that do not understand the relationship that I have with my staff. My staff are my kids. I have Chris Loshbaugh, who is one of my DJs. He's one of my MCs. He's actually 2 years older than me, and he's one of my kids. He's like an adopted son. I mean, this is a guy who I recruited from Michigan. He came to Massachusetts. He lived with me for 2 months while I was getting his feet kind of settled here in the state. He comes to every one of my family events. We're talking about everything from Christmas to Thanksgiving. I mean, and that's just one person. I have staff members that are what I call staff members. They're all subcontractors because they are their own mini bosses. And so they're not working for 40 hours a week. They're not working for 20 hours a week in this business. What I call my full-time weekend people, they'll work for 6 or 12 hours in a week, and that's a full weekend schedule for them doing 2 events. So our relationship that we have, I mean, we're talking about, we go out as a group to the movies, we'll go out to dinner together. Heck, we'll do dinners after the event is over, and that sometimes is 2 a.m. We'll take 6 people out.
I've seen those social posts that you've put up every once in a while. You'll be at like 3 a.m. He'll be at a local diner, ordering a milkshake and fries, and I'm like, what the hell? But that's how you build your relationships. I mean, that's great. I do it in different ways, but you do it in a very specific, very special way with your team.
Yeah. And even if they move away, that team, I've had people that have moved to Florida. I've had people that have moved to Sydney, Australia. Some of my girls, my kids that are girls, they'll call me up and they'll ask me advice on guys. One of my girls is now in Washington, D.C. She went from London to Washington, D.C., and she still talks to me about how men are not the most good thing. I'm not going to use the exact phrase that she uses.
That's okay. You can. This is an explicit show. Feel free to say whatever you want.
She's like, men suck. She goes, they are the worst. I'm like, I know, Chandra, I know. And so, she's down in Washington. I mean, she hasn't done an event for me in probably over a year, but yet she knows that I'm going to be the male voice of reason to give her advice on what's going on in the male mind, which is scary.
And it is very scary knowing you, Ken, and how your advice goes. Again, help us understand. Now we've talked about relationships inside. It's very important to kind of almost build a family unit with your organization, even the folks that are not full-time for you. Talk about your clients. How do you really establish a relationship with your clients when most of what you are doing is going to be ahead of time on the phone? You can't possibly spend an abundance of time with them, so you have to make every moment count. How do you make every moment count with your clients?
First of all, we deal with very personal events. I mean, we're talking about the one day in people's lives, hopefully, when it comes to their wedding.
Some of us too. Just so you know.
Some of us could have 2, some could have 12, whatever. Me, I'm having 1 and finished.
Yeah,
but when it comes to the clients, it is so vitally important, that relationship that I build. I get so tight with most of my clients that, I know how many kids they have. I know when their birthday is rolling around. Many of them are friends of mine on Facebook, and they're commenting on posts of me taking my daughter to Disney World. We are going back and forth on situations like that. They comment on peppermint stick ice cream that I made, or I'll comment on their triplets having, the birthday when I did their 5th birthday party, and now they're turning 9, and I'm still involved in their life. This is the relationship that I have with my clients. They know after probably about 20 minutes of talking to me how personal I take this and how invested I am personally on their event. Whether it's a corporate client who's only doing this once a year, or a wedding client that might only see me once in their life, it doesn't matter. At the end of the day, I want to be their best. There are different type of leaders in this world. My staff, I have my staff who are, some of them are the type of leader when you walk down a path, they walk right next to you, they become your best friend, and they're like, hey, let's go in this direction because you're my best friend, you trust me, and I'll take you to the right place. My type of leadership is a little bit more in the front-back type. So I'm constantly looking back on that path saying, hey, you guys still with me? Let's do this. And it's a little bit more of a dominant leadership role. And my clients know that I've listened to them, I've explained all these different options, they tell me what they want, and based on the parameters they've set, I'm leading them to the path of their fun. And they trust me because they know that I have their best interest in heart. So they're slightly behind me, but I'm leading them to where they want to be and enjoying the ride while we get there. So we compare our business as kind of like an artist. We let the paints be their parameters: first dance, last dance, parent dances, types of music, how much interaction they want, what do they want for options. That's all the paints. And their reception or their event is a blank canvas. And then what I do, or what my guys do, is we create the art with the paints that they provided us.
Interesting. That's a pretty interesting analogy that you just made.
It's something that works out well for us. And if I'm not an artsy-fartsy guy, I'm logistic. I'm like, listen, if you're going to have a wedding reception, you have to do first dance, parent dance, last dance, cake cutting, bouquet and garter. You're going to have dances. It's like strict structure, rigid. So I'm a detail-oriented person, but I get all these, warm and fuzzy feeling type brides where they want to have that kind of soft around the corner. Okay, that's not me. So in order for me to be that soft around the corner type of a guy, I kind of have to lay it out in that artwork type of analogy.
So what do you say for a client that says, and you just said that's how it has to be. So you have these 27 things that are a part of every event that you have, and whether it's a wedding or a bar mitzvah or a corporate event, it's just different. They're just called different things. What if you have a client that just says, well, we don't want to do it that way? Do you excuse yourself from being an entertainer at their event, or do you kind of work around what they're looking for?
Oh, no, it's always about what they're looking for. It's if the client says to me, we don't want to do bouquet and garter, I'm not the DJ saying, oh, you got to have to do bouquet and garter. It wouldn't be correct without, a wedding wouldn't be done without it. Right. From my standpoint, it comes down to whatever the client wants. If I'm doing a bar mitzvah and they don't want to do candle lighting and they don't want to horror, well, I don't care. What do I care? It's like 20 more minutes in my pocket. I can do something else.
Right.
So I will give them advice as to what is good and what is not good under the circumstances. But whatever they choose is the way that we go. Now, if a client says they want a human jukebox to sit up there and just play music for 4 hours, I usually try to direct them to one of my guys because it's a tremendous waste of my talents. And having me sit there, and they're going to pay extra to have me personally at their event. It just doesn't make any financial sense to them. And I explain that, and sometimes they go for it, and sometimes they say, nope, Ken, you are the one that's on the phone. You're the one I'm talking to. You're the one I want to have there. I'm like, okay.
Sorry, go ahead, Ken.
Yeah, so they pay the difference in cost to have me personally at their event, and then I'm back there with my DJ because I always do a package with a minimum of 2 people, and I'm basically either doing some mixing if I get bored, or letting my DJ do his thing, and I'll just read the crowd and choose appropriate music, and I'm staying off the microphone, or talk to clients off microphone, or I'll talk to guests off mic and find out what makes them tick during the dinner time, just so that I keep it fresh and new for me.
So Ken, the majority of our and just so you know, that was my bell. I don't know why my bell just had a mind of its own for a second. I usually ring it only for special circumstances. Maybe there's a special circumstance that's going on. Help share with the listeners who are predominantly entrepreneurial in their thinking.
Yes.
Give them something that will help them feel like they're taking an action step away from listening to today's episode. Is there something that you do on a routine basis that would make sense, that no matter what industry that they are in, that they feel like they could walk away with, hey, I know that if you do this, you're going to be successful at being an entrepreneur?
Yep. And for me, it boils down to one thing. It all comes, and I didn't even mention it in this entire podcast. One thing that really will make the client, make you a better individual and a better person, and it's something that I have been doing my entire life, and I'll tell you a story afterwards. Be the most ethical person you can be. I cannot stress enough how good business ethics have come back to serve me well over the years. Here's a great example. When I was in 1992, when I moved to Massachusetts, I worked for New England Telephone. Last real job that my mother said that I actually had.
Yeah, I didn't actually think you ever had a real job.
Yeah, that was when I was 17. I actually had a real job. I had people back in 92. They didn't have their phone working. They called me up at New England Telephone repair service from a payphone, be all mad at me because their phone wasn't working. But I sent it out 3 months. I realized then I never wanted a real job again. So what happened was I got all the I got all the yellow pages during the break room. I photocopied every disc jockey section for every yellow pages in eastern and central Massachusetts. I contacted over 120 individual DJs back then to try to freelance work from them. I got with a company called Crystal Entertainment in 92. That was Jimmy and Gail Johnson. And I started doing events for them. Now, when I went out and did an event, per policy, we give out the cards of the company that we work for. So I didn't give out a touch of class cards. I gave out Crystal Entertainment cards and said, if you want me, I wrote on the bottom, just call and ask for Ken Cosco, and they'll check my availability and I'll come out.
Right.
Well, there are many opportunities where people are like, well, can't I just call you directly? Can't you just give me your regular card or whatever? And I'm like, no, I appreciate that. Even when a client would call me and say, hey, I saw you at this event, I realized which event it was. And I said, I'm sorry, I wish I could work with you, but you have to go through Crystal to have me personally.
Right.
There were many chances that I was able to do that, and I didn't because it's all internal ethics. Now, by being that ethical, it built up a reputation over the next 6 or 7 years about what I was like to work with, and all of these other vendors, whether they were other DJs or party planners or whatever, would work with me because they knew that I wasn't going to snipe jobs from them, and they would get their commissions in future events. Even up to today, I did an event where the client called me directly because the party planner told me to book it directly last year, so I booked it last year. They called me back again this year to do it again. I booked it again this year. I did the event, called up the party planner and said, hey, his name is Armand. Hey, Armand, guess what? He goes, what? I said, I owe you a check. He goes, what do you mean? He goes, I just did this event that came from you last year, and I owe you a $300 commission check. He's like, oh, he goes, dude, he said in 22 years, he's never once had an artist ever do that. Just call him up out of the blue at an event that he didn't even know about that ended up booking, sending him a check for $300. So, but anyway, so I did all of that back in the 90s. And then the next thing I know, I was doing events for Mobile Beat Magazine, the national mobile DJ magazine, and I was there from 97 until about 1999 or 2000. Right after 2000, they changed over their director, and they brought in Jimmy Johnson from Crystal Entertainment, the same guy that I worked for from 92 and on, and as I built my own business.
Right.
He said, we need an MC for this All-Star team. Who can I trust? Next thing you know, 2002, he calls me up. He says, hey, Ken, I don't trust anybody else more than you in the entire country. Will you come out here and MC this All-Star team? No problem. I went out. I did 12 straight All-Star teams where I MC'd it. We're talking about doing my performances in front of 1,200 different DJs around the country.
Right.
Eventually opening for the likes of Chubby Checker, Tone Loc, CNC Music Factory. And the point that this all comes back to is if you are ethical with your clients and express examples of how you maintain that ethical line, that you never cross it, you're going to end up getting a ton more respect than you could ever possibly imagine. And that level of ethical behavior is something that I stress with all of my staff that comes in. I stress with my daughter as she's growing up. And I'm not religious. I haven't been to church in forever. I mean, my clients consider me honorarily Jewish.
Right.
But I believe in the policy of treat other people how you want to be treated. And so you hold the door for somebody, you expect a thank you. If someone holds the door for me, I always thank them. So at that level of, this level of ethical behavior that I stand by has served me well during the worst financial times that we have seen in our life, because people said, we typically don't have the money, but for you, we just know how important entertainment is, and we know that you're really going to take care of us in this event. And they would pay us in 2008 when there was no money going around in 2008. Everyone was scared. And that came to, the effort, but more importantly, it came to the ethical behavior from a business standpoint that we maintained. There's nothing, I think, more important than that. I can look at myself in the mirror.
Amen to that, brother. All right, I want you to take off your a touch of class hat for just a moment and put on your entrepreneur's hat and answer the following 5 questions, if you could. These are just going to be rapid fire questions. So in 15 seconds or less, try to give me an answer on each one of these, and I will do my best to stay out of your way as you're doing that. Okay, here we go. Be relatable, Ken. What do you suck at?
And from a business standpoint,
management.
Management. I hate doing schedules. I hate going through interviews for new people and having to train from the start. Oh, I can't stand it. I suck at it.
All right.
I'm too much of a perfectionist. I let my other people do most of the training and hiring now.
Be transparent. How did you pay your bills when you first got going?
Well, I was in high school. So, we had four partners, and I took my quarter of the amount of money that we made in an event, saved up, started buying equipment, and then basically at 17, that was when, I was able to generate a little bit more revenue and through the sale of the majority of the company, and then basically picked it up from there. Got the top-of-line equipment, and then just as I went along, I would wait until I had the funds and buy the equipment that way.
Be confident. What do you do as an entrepreneur that's as good as it gets?
As good as it gets. I'm going to say there's nobody better on the microphone than I am when I'm going. No offense, Doug.
No, that's
that's okay. We have completely different styles.
Yeah.
You are funny. I am not funny, but nobody's going to out-energize a crowd than I will. I don't
know how you do it. I've seen you in action, like I said, and I don't know how you do it. I can't keep that energy level up. That's why I have what I lack in energy, I make up in fun.
But you are fun. That's the part, is that you are like the fun guy. I've always said that the absolute dynamic duo will be you and I. You making them laugh and me making them sweat. And I always thought that would be the most amazing combination.
All right, we could spend doing a bunch of the Mutual Admiration Society, but let's move on to the last 2 questions. Be humble, Ken. What experts did you need to call upon to make shit happen when shit wasn't happening at some point in your career?
Well, first of all, my father. My father is one who's probably my number one confidant when it comes to talking me off the ledge. You would be talking me off the ledge when I'd have
nobody's been better at that for me than you, and you know that over the last 5 years with all the shit that's gone on in my life. What's happening?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, my problems usually are kind of dealt with. We have different dynamics of problems. You don't worry about the business side as much, and it's all personal. For me, it's all business. Like, oh my God, I only have 50 events going into next year, and you're like, shut up, Ken, you'll be fine. It'll be good. You're gonna have your 200 events. I'm like, oh God, okay. And that's basically that. I would say that the two of them are going to be you and my father as far as who I will look to talk me off the ledge.
All right, as a business owner, this is the last one. As a business owner and an entrepreneur, put these in priority order. Are you ready? Okay. Employees, customers, products, systems. Put those in order. Employees, customers, products, systems in priority order.
I would say it's employees first. Well, for me, it's subcontractors. I will go to war for my staff. That's without a doubt. Clients are second. I don't care what product you're creating. If you don't have a personal attention to your clients, you're not going to get anywhere. And then I would say the product is more important than the system, because the end result is what keeps you in business. And your systems, as far as systems, whether it's a timing system or actual physical systems, those can always change. Those can be adjusted. Those are going to break down all the time. Your kid's going to be sick in school. Your timing system's going to be thrown off. You get to go get it, bring it to the doctors. Your sound system, there's always going to be a problem that happens in that. And systems have to change. You have to be flexible to that change. So I don't hold much clout as far as system goes if I had to pick one of the 4, because people will be forgiving. Clients will be forgiving. If you try with your employees or your subcontractors, or you try with them, they'll understand that mistakes happen and things happen, and you'll get past it and move on. if your customers know you on a personal level, and if you're a baker and you make one bad muffin, they're not going to leave you because of one bad muffin. But if they don't know you from a hole in the wall, they may never visit your store again. So from my standpoint, my clients know that if there's a system complete meltdown in an event and it's one of my regulars, they understand, like, okay, these things happen, whatever, let's move on, because they know that I feel so much for them. So that's why customers matter over system. And then as far as product, at the end of the day, I want to produce. I don't want to be just good in what I do. I want to be the best. And when I'm on, I truly feel that I'm the Michael Jordan of entertainers. Nobody can out-entertain me. And that's just my gut. And that comes from the final product that I produce.
Well said. Well said. Moving on to our last personal question here. Do you have your cell phone anywhere near you?
I do.
Okay, great. Do you have an iPhone or something inferior?
I have a Samsung Galaxy S5.
It's interesting. Everybody either has the iPhone or a Samsung Galaxy. I wonder if there's any other phones out there in the world other than those two. All right. So Chris has a Motorola now.
He just bought one.
A flip phone?
No.
the StarTech?
No, he just got a new Moto. So he has different attachments in the back.
Okay. All right. Go to your photo app. What is the last thing you took a picture of?
Let's take a look. My last thing I took a picture of was, here we go, camera. My peppermint stick ice cream. Okay, my father bought me my father bought me an ice cream maker for Christmas. This thing rocks, from just cream and sugar and milk and half, and I crushed up peppermint sticks and basically put in this ice cream maker. 18 minutes later, I had probably 7 servings of peppermint stick ice cream. So I actually have a waffle bowl, peppermint stick ice cream, whipped cream, Jimmy's, crushed peppermint, 2 cherries, and a peppermint stick.
Hey, just in case you think that Ken might be overweight because of the amount of sugar and crap that he puts in his body, you are incorrect, because he is a thin guy, because he burns it all off in worry, stress, and anxiety on the dance floor.
Yeah, all of those things. I joke, my exercise, I haven't seen the inside of a gym in decades. I think that the inside of my life is lifting heavy equipment and doing high energy aerobic dancing. Yeah. And that's what I do for a living. So I am the worst when it comes to diet. And but no caffeine, no sugar, no smoking, no drugs. I don't even drink coffee. I mean, that's,
you and my brother, I don't even understand the no alcohol, no caffeine thing, but whatever, that's fine.
No inhibitions, baby.
Yeah. Go to your texting app. What is the last text message you sent and received? I think I might even know this one, because I probably was the sender of the last text message you got.
Yeah, you said ready to go, and then I said booting now, and you said cool. But that was the last text message that I was
How about the one before that?
Yeah, well, actually, I haven't. I actually just got one that came in at right now, actually, and there was a casino for this Saturday night, and my contact for the casino tables, who's very busy, wants me to cover an event Saturday night, says, I haven't heard anything either. Oi, this guy who wants us to do this casino, he hasn't gotten in touch with us, and that's going to be for Saturday night. Last minute, we were going to have 6 casino tables going out to his event. I was going to do 2 poker, 4 blackjack for an event from 9 to 11 in Providence.
Well, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so that was my last. That's the last actual text message that I was received. But the one prior to that was in a text message conversation I had with my dog sitter. She's a night owl, and I was texting her for between 12:30 and 12:35 in the morning, arranging for my dog to be taken away from me for a period of a couple weeks, because I love my vacations, and I'm taking 10 days
Ken
off.
does love his vacations. He's a part of the Vacation of the Month Club. Every once in a while, if you're a friend of his on Facebook. By the way, Ken, how can people get a hold of you if they want either to take advantage of your services or to just hear more about your business?
Well, my website is atouchofclass.com, all 4 words, no spaces, atouchofclass.com. I'm also on Facebook at facebook.com/ATOCDJS, which is the initials of the company, plural, so ATOCDJS. Twitter at ATOCDJ, no S. Somebody took the S on the Facebook.
That's all right. We'll make sure we put it. You don't have to confuse everybody. We have one contact. Right. We'll put it on the in the show notes so everybody has access to get to you. But yeah, Ken is a part of the Vacation of the Month Club. So if you really want to set some good goals for yourself, just see where Ken gets to travel, because he pretty much goes everywhere. Disney goes, he will go there too.
Yeah, I do. I believe life is better with 9 to 12 vacations a year. If it's fewer than 9, then it's a really bad year. year. 12 is a good year. Last year I ended up doing 11, and it was upsetting I couldn't get to the 12th. This year I'm already set up for vacations in February, March, April, June, July, and July. So I have currently 7 set up through the end of July.
It is amazing. You would think that he would never accomplish any business, but just the opposite. He is amazing when he's on vacation. He is a man on a mission. I've been to Disney with him, and I've had a chance to visit his house and enjoy some vacation time myself with him in Boston. And man, this guy is everywhere. So Ken, thank you for being a part of the Nice Guys on Business podcast today. Hopefully you'll get as much out of it as we got out of it as well.
Well, it's been a lot of fun talking with you, Doug. I could do for hours and probably bore your audience, but it would be a lot of fun to be a fly on the wall during our conversations.
Nice guy community. Never underestimate the power of nice. Again, special thanks to Ken for being on the show today. Steve O'Brien, go ahead and take us out of here.
For the Nice Guys on Business, I'm Steve O'Brien. I would have gotten away with it too if it weren't for you meddling kids